100 days of making America safe again. President Trump said from the start, "Criminal illegals have no place in our homeland." He is keeping his promise. In just 100 days, President Trump and Secretary Noem have delivered major victories addressing the crisis at the southern border, removing violent criminal illegal aliens from American communities and stopping the flow of illicit drugs into our homeland. He's accomplished more in 100 days than most presidents achieve in an entire term. Promises made, promises kept. Thanks to President Trump, we have the most secure border in American history. On day one, President Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border. President Trump immediately reinstated Remain in Mexico and ended catch and release. Daily border encounters have plunged 95% since President Trump took office. Under President Trump's leadership, Secretary Noem and Secretary Kennedy have reunited nearly 5,000 unaccompanied children with a safe relative or guardian. Migrants are turning back before they even reach our border. Migration through Panama's Darien Gap is down 99.99%. President Trump is finishing the border wall. The Department of Homeland Security already has 85 miles of new construction either planned or under construction. United States Customs and Border Protection and the United States Coast Guard have seized nearly 232,000 pounds of fentanyl and other illicit drugs, stopping them from ever reaching American communities. President Trump is fulfilling his promise to carry out mass deportations, starting with the worst of the worst. The Trump administration empowered our brave men and women in law enforcement to use common sense to do their jobs effectively. The Department of Homeland Security repealed Biden-era rules that allowed criminal aliens to hide from law enforcement in places like schools and churches to avoid arrest. The Department of Homeland Security returned to using the term illegal alien, which is the statutory language. President Trump will not allow political correctness to hinder law enforcement. President Trump mobilized the federal government to help with immigration enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security deputized the Texas National Guard, Drug Enforcement Administration, Bureau of Prisons, United States Marshals, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, members of the State Department and the Internal Revenue Service to assist with immigration operations. Operation Tidal Wave, the first 287G enforcement operation coordinated with state and federal law enforcement partners, resulted in over 800 arrests. The Department of Homeland Security has secured 579 signed agreements with state and local partnerships under 287G. President Trump and Secretary Noem are empowering state and local law enforcement to get these criminal illegal aliens off our streets. The Trump administration has arrested over 158,000 illegal aliens in 2025 alone, including more than 600 members of Tren de Aragua. Under President Trump, United States Immigration Customs and Enforcement is targeting the worst of the worst. 75% of their arrests are criminal illegal aliens with convictions or pending charges. To fulfill President Trump's promise to carry out mass deportations, the administration is now detaining some of the most dangerous illegal aliens, including violent criminals and members of terrorist gangs, at Guantanamo Bay. At President Trump's direction, the Department of Homeland Security deported nearly 300 Tren de Aragua and MS-13 terrorists to the Terrorism Confinement Center prison in El Salvador, where they no longer pose a threat to the American people. At President Trump's direction, Secretary Noem launched a multi-million-dollar nationwide and international ad campaign, urging illegal aliens to leave the United States voluntarily or face deportation with no chance of return. President Trump ended the CBP-1 app that allowed more than 1 million aliens to illegally enter the United States. The Trump administration replaced this disastrous program with the CBP Home app, which has a new self-deportation reporting feature for aliens illegally in the country. So far, thousands of illegal aliens have used the app to self-deport. The Trump administration is enforcing the Alien Registration Act, which requires aliens to register with the federal government. If illegal aliens fail to comply, they face fines and imprisonment. Deportations have already exceeded 142,000. This is just the beginning. President Trump is putting the safety of Americans first and delivering justice for victims of illegal aliens and drug cartels. President Trump signed the Lock and Riley Act, which mandates the federal detention of illegal aliens accused of theft, burglary, assaulting a law enforcement officer, or any crime resulting in death or serious bodily injury. President Trump designated international drug cartels and other criminal gangs, such as MS-13 and Tren de Aragua, as foreign terrorist organizations. This enables a whole-of-government approach to dismantle their drug and human trafficking operations. The days of unchecked cartel and gang violence are over. The Trump administration secured the extradition of 29 Mexican drug cartel members who are facing charges including racketeering, drug trafficking, murder, illegal use of firearms, money laundering, and other crimes. Some of these individuals include Rafael Caro Quintero, alleged to have been among those responsible for the 1985 murder of DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena and others. This cartel kingpin unleashed violence, destruction, and death across the United States and Mexico and spent 4 decades atop DEA's most wanted fugitives list. Martin Sotelo, alleged to have participated in the 2022 murder of Deputy Sheriff Ned Byrd. Antonio Oseguera Cervantes, alleged to have helped lead the Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación. Ramiro Perez Moreno and Lucio Hernandez Lechuga, alleged to be high-ranking members of Los Zetas. The Trump administration extradited Ezwin Mejia, an illegal alien arrested for killing 21-year-old Sarah Root in a drunk driving crash, from Honduras. President Trump reopened the Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement Office, which was shuttered by the Biden administration. President Trump and Secretary Noem are standing up for the victims of illegal alien crime and ensuring they have access to much-needed resources and support they deserve. President Trump is restoring integrity and common sense to our legal immigration system. President Trump ended the broad abuse of humanitarian parole and returned the program to a case-by-case basis. As part of this effort, Secretary Noem terminated the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela parole programs. President Trump restored integrity to our immigration system by returning the Temporary Protect Status immigration program to its original status, temporary. No longer will this program be abused and exploited by illegal aliens. Secretary Noem rescinded the previous administration's extension of Venezuelan, Haitian, and Afghan TPS. President Trump is returning common sense to our legal immigration system and national security by revoking visas of terrorist sympathizers. Those who glorify and support terrorists who kill Americans are not welcome in the United States. Some examples include: ICE arrested Mahmoud Khalil, a former Columbia University graduate student who led activities aligned with Hamas and passed out pro-Hamas propaganda flyers. Dr. Rasha Alawieh was deported after she admitted to attending the funeral of Hassan Nasrallah, a brutal terrorist who led Hezbollah and was responsible for killing hundreds of Americans. ICE arrested Badar Khan Suri, a Georgetown foreign exchange student whose father-in-law is a senior advisor to Hamas. To keep America safe, the Department of Homeland Security is now conducting enhanced vetting of visa applicants, including monitoring foreign aliens' social media accounts to identify any support for terrorist organizations. President Trump is using tariffs as a negotiating tool to force other countries to take decisive action that puts American safety, prosperity, and national security first. President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs on countries that have been ripping off America for years. Unfair trade practices made our supply chain dependent on foreign adversaries, eroded our industrial base, and hurt American workers. This has gravely impacted our national security. Now President Trump is fighting back and putting America first. President Trump's tariffs forced Mexico to deploy 10,000 troops on our southern border to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal aliens into our country and Canada, to add thousands of personnel to the northern border. Under President Trump, Secretary Noem refocused the Department of Homeland Security to its core mission of protecting the American homeland and eliminating government waste. The United States Coast Guard eliminated an ineffective information technology program, saving nearly $33 million, and is now focusing resources where they're most needed to protect our homeland. The Trump administration stopped aliens on the terror watch list from receiving Medicaid benefits. Secretary Noem ended the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Federal Emergency Management Agency grant program that was wasteful and ineffective. This resulted in nearly $1 billion being directed to the Disaster Relief Fund. To stop policies that were magnets for illegal immigration, the Department of Homeland Security froze all funding to non-governmental organizations that facilitate illegal immigration and announced a partnership with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development to ensure taxpayer dollars do not go to housing illegal aliens. Secretary Noem ended collective bargaining for the Transportation Security Administration's transportation security officers, which constrained TSA's chief mission to safeguard our transportation systems and keep Americans safe. Bottom line, President Trump campaigned on border security and immigration enforcement. The American people voted for it, and Secretary Noem and the Department of Homeland Security are delivering beyond anyone's expectations. President Trump and Secretary Noem will continue fighting every day to secure our border and keep American communities safe. This is just the beginning of a new golden age of America.